Hello and welcome, as it is the fourth day of August 2017. My name is Derek. Let's go over cryptocurrencies, the wild game that this is, where moves on traditional markets that take so much longer can be done in a quicker period of time. This is Bitcoin Cash on the Bittrex exchange. Notice this low in at around 14.5 and a move that breached a little south of 5,000. And on the 30-minute time frame, this minute, well, it only took a few hours. A decent amount, a small point of a day. So how long did it take the NASDAQ the last time to go from 1450 to south of 5,000? This is the monthly chart. 1450 was here, south of 5,000's in here. Well, I guess 2009 to this year. It took about 7 or 8 years to do to get the volatility. That took almost 1 day on BCC. Back to this chart. And when the NASDAQ bottomed, it bottomed in the 800s area. It topped at around 5,000 in the year 2000. And then it came down to the 800s in early 2009. It took 9 years for it to lose that much. Not with Bitcoin Cash. Oh, no. A little over a couple of days. And it's going to lose that same amount of value. Now when we look at this chart as it's playing through, this area of support has been tested quite some time. There's been a long sideways correction within this. Since this decline from this lower high, straight move down, a little bit of correction here and here, long sideways correction, then straight move down with another small correction in here, and of course now this sideways action that has taken place. And when the market looks as it does towards such, there isn't really anything I can state to say, oh, we're going up or we're going down from this point, because there's no way that I can. I can see different areas that maybe there might be a little bit of resistance in here. This is a no-brainer spot where you'd be finding areas, or expected to find areas where you'd find resistance. So that becomes things you would expect. After such a decline, I would be very surprised if it has any significant break above anything in this area here. Totally surprised if it repeats previous high, but I was surprised it got up to this level as it was in the first place anyway. But wild moves. I really can't go on much more other than, of course, if it breaks support, expect decent size down moves many times, as we have seen, well, throughout this. You break support, big red moves. This is the big support level. So you don't want to be a buyer barely below here is what I'm trying to say. If you're trying to fish for a low, it's just a terrible spot in my opinion. And before we go on to the Bitcoin chart, I want to talk about the S&P 500 on the weekly time frame, as it left this 1,800 and change low in the spring of last year. It's coming very close to this 2,500, as it has been in a full throttle bull market. So the time frame from 1,800 and change is a little over 1 year. Now on to Bitcoin, which in July had to fall down to about 1,800 and change, and it took, well, 4 days to break 2,500, making it to over 2,800. Since that point, finding a higher low, nice little upward trend, very much a bullish pattern in place thus far. But again, I'm using another example, how a stock market from a very similar situation, a correctionary bull market fall, and how long it takes to move higher. So the amount of gains in the stock market that would normally take you a year was able to be played in about a half of 1 week. And here I'm talking about Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency a lot less volatile than the others, and yet in itself, here's a situation where it's up 2.15% for the day, and it's barely a noticeable up day, when you're comparing it to all of the ones before. And well, obviously in here, and this isn't even day, well, never mind. This is, yeah, it's up 2.15% for the day. So the daily chart barely up, but a stock market would be noticeably and such. So as a trader, these cryptocurrencies can allow you to get the yields either in losses or gains that traders would normally get in a year that you can get in less than a month. So it means, oh man, I want to be a trader, but I mean, I don't have time to get to 20, 30 years to build my portfolio. I'd rather do it in less than a year. It kind of works out in a situation like this because of, as I've been showing you, when you're able to, say, buy something now, sell it tomorrow, that's the equivalency of a regular trader buying a stock, say, today and selling it next summer kind of deal. Within this market, though, we've got a move outside this band, but it's had many tests of this higher area. So it's got decent momentum, but it really has to break above this point into the 3000s to give any kind of vindication that this is ready for a full throttle, nice increase, sort of like we've seen like this, because you would expect big moves. Meanwhile, all these higher lows, and what we can notice is the last higher low is pretty far away, meaning it can have a correction by, it wouldn't be a surprise at all to come down somewhere in here and continue this pattern where it's not able to break this resistance, but yet it's keeping the nice, beautiful, bullish pattern in play into form. And then when you get to understand how some of these codes are moving, like this code, UNB, unbreakable, and I've talked about this one before, what do we see as what history has shown? Many of these huge up moves that fall back. Up move, this doesn't fall back much, but this one does. This is a normal one, but we can notice in here, look at all of these lines that represent situations where you're able to sell and very quickly buy back cheaper. Now, when you have a strategy like this, starting from this low in here, you realize, oh my goodness, this thing is just insanely mad, but mad can mean profits. That if you have a, you know what, I'm going to have to shorten this time frame out. I'm going to have to put this on the 4 hour. And when you see situations like, say, of a sell order here, and the prices go down, maybe you can definitely get this sell order back, but heck, it came down here, all the buy orders that you were able to fill. And the buy orders that you filled were able to be sold in here. And the ones that were sold in here were able to be bought back in here. And then maybe you buy here, you're like, oh, SHIT. Then you have the decision to sell out, and if you did that, you're totally unhappy, you missed out. You have the decision to buy more. Well, that can cost you a lot if this does end up going to nothing. Or you could just say, you know what, I'm playing the risk. I'm not going to buy anymore, but I'm not going to sell it as you see this down move. And then, of course, you're going to notice later, oh, I'm glad I didn't sell because you were able to, you can see here, sell, all these sell orders, and then able to buy them back again. And even buying back here, you can sell here, you can buy back here. When you look at the volatility of those movements, as I've been pointing this out within this video, that there's wild moves, selling in here for over 10,000 and then buying back, this works out to 7,500 here. That's a 25% haircut. So if I bought X amount of shares for 1 Bitcoin, and then I buy X amount back, which translates to the exact same amount back, then it would cost me only 0.75 now. So that's 0.25 in free profit. And this is only a small move, let alone if you're playing for the extreme moves, where, okay, let's say you had a seller, I don't want to do the top, let's just even say here, 11. You sold at 11, and you want to buy at half off at 55. Well, you would have, that case, you would have got lucky. And you could have bought back, say, what you did before. Say you sold it for 1 unit, now you don't have to buy it back for a half. Also, you're going to get situations where there's going to be luck and unluck. You could have a buy order in here and miss it. You know what? That's going to happen. How about those who had sell orders up here? So there's always going to be little bits of good and bad luck. But if you execute a strategy that is formidable, then you'll notice that when bad luck comes, you know what? It's not stopping me from doing well with the gains so far. But situations like this, you have your sell order maybe here, you put one here, you put one here, maybe you put one here, and then just even keep going north. And there's nothing wrong with, what do we got here, 20,000? There's nothing wrong putting one in for 150,000 or 300,000. You don't know how wild. It could easily get that wild. We can see in here quickly all of a sudden goes from 4,500 to 20,000. And there's been many situations where these coins have these 10x, 12, 50x gains out of nowhere. Take Ant shares, for example, ANS, bottoming at 14,000 and making it up to 500,000. So that works out to about over 30 times higher. So those spectacular, huge plays are in there, and you can say they're insane. Okay, so be it. That's what it is then. And is there anything to stop these kinds of movements from occurring? So therefore, it's insane, in my opinion, to think that these things are going to move in a non-insane method. So thinking that something like this, if it's going to break down, that going down 80% is insane. That's normal. To think that breaking any key points and having moves like this, oh my goodness, here, it broke the area of about 70-something thousand, and it goes up like 8 times, 7 times from there. That's insane. Well, it happened. So if this thing does it again, well, it's going to happen again. Of course, I'm not going to predict anything. That's not what I'm... I do predict things now and again. But as the technicals stand out from this high, this first low in here has not been taken out. It was barely tested in here. So higher lows have been coming into play. There was a situation with this lower high. So higher lows, lower highs. Well, this lower high has now been taken out. Practically a matching high to this one. 18 average, starting a nice little rise in here. I wouldn't be surprised if around this 32 area would be a spot for support. Now, whether it is or not will be another question, but this does look as if it's got some bullish momentum ready to come forward within this. And what its potential for another leg higher after this, I have absolutely no idea, but I do expect it to be insane. After all, I'd be insane to think not. Anyway, that will be it for tonight. So thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. And yeah, before I go, a lot of these times when I do these videos, I'm just trying to help with different ideas and such. So I'm showing stuff like ant shares. It could be 100 or dozens and dozens of other codes. It's pretty much the same analogy for that type of stuff with these insane kind of movements and all that. Take care.